We tend to imagine artificial intelligence as a weightless, invisible mist floating above our heads. The crushing reality is heavily industrial. Every generated video, every predictive text, and every automated decision requires massive physical machinery grinding away inside data centers. For years, European leadership has approached this technology primarily as a software issue. The focus has been on global governance, drafting comprehensive policy frameworks, and debating the ethical boundaries of algorithms in forums like the United Nations. This focus on ethics reached a peak in 2026, with Pope Leo XIV's encyclical, Magnifica Humanitas. The text firmly places human dignity above technocratic power, insisting that algorithms must respect the individual rather than simply scaling for profit. But drafting moral directives and privacy laws provides a false sense of security. You cannot reliably enforce an ethical rule on a dataset if the physical server processing that data is owned and operated by a foreign power. Europe's digital society currently runs on an infrastructure it does not own. The continent relies almost entirely on North American cloud platforms and Asian semiconductor supply chains to keep its essential services online. The entities that manufacture the silicon, build the cooling systems, and power the server racks hold the actual leverage. They dictate the terms of access, the cost of compute, and ultimately the physical supply chains that make AI possible in the first place. While Europe debates regulation, other global powers are executing highly coordinated, massive industrial strategies. China, for instance, has aligned its state resources, energy grids, and chip manufacturers into a unified bloc designed to withstand trade embargoes. Technological sovereignty is never won at the user application layer. It is secured at the base physical layer. The nation that controls the energy and the processors dictates the rules for everyone else. To achieve actual regional autonomy, societies have to stop looking up at the software cloud and descend into the heavy industrial machine room. The global AI economy heavily favors landlords over tenants. Renting software applications keeps a region dependent. Owning the underlying physical computing platforms builds lasting leverage. We are beginning to see blueprints for a fully domestic European hardware stack. The recent partnership between the cloud provider Ionos and the Stuttgart-based tech firm QANT is designed specifically to address this physical deficit. This architectural comparison shows exactly how they plan to bypass existing bottlenecks. Instead of standard silicon, QANT uses photonics, a technology that calculates using light rather than electricity. It requires significantly less energy and, crucially, can be manufactured entirely within Europe. But efficient chips are useless in isolation. They have to be physically wired into local data centers, creating a closed-loop ecosystem where the hardware, the energy supply, and the cloud hosting all remain within the same jurisdiction. Possessing this energy-efficient, base-level architecture is the absolute prerequisite. Without it, long-term industrial autonomy is mathematically impossible. Europe cannot secure its position by trying to outspend the US on massive consumer applications. Trying to build a rival to the biggest consumer chatbots is a distraction from where real leverage lies. The strategic advantage exists deep inside complex, highly regulated industries. The focus is shifting toward heavy B2B sectors, complex robotics, and critical infrastructure, where safety and precision outweigh sheer mass adoption. Companies like Wandelbots are developing hardware-independent operating systems for manufacturing robots, while Helsing is building sovereign autonomous systems for European defense. They are hard-coding local operational logic directly into physical machines. To scale this, the economic strategy has to change. Spreading venture capital thinly across thousands of small consumer apps yields little power. That capital must be concentrated into massive, unified, national industrial champions. This vertical flowchart tracks how raw processing power dictates the final product. By controlling the massive industrial servers and open source stacks at the base, you dictate the entire pipeline that eventually outputs the media and cultural products at the top. Securing that heavy physical infrastructure at the very bottom inherently builds the secure pipeline necessary to protect a region's digital and cultural output at the very top. This industrial manufacturing base is entirely responsible for the final societal output: human culture, storytelling, and global media influence. We are entering an era where anyone can prompt an algorithm to generate a high-definition movie. When output quantity becomes unlimited, the value of generic, automated content plummets to zero. What retains value is human perspective. In Cannes, juries have pointed to a concept called singularité du regard, the uniqueness of the gaze. Authorship, lived experience, and intent become the defining metrics of value in modern storytelling. Female creators are actively redefining these workflows. They are taking strategic roles in production, post-production, and prompt engineering to ensure that authentic storytelling leads the technology, rather than allowing algorithms to dictate the narrative. By leveraging sovereign, local tools, these creators are preventing antiquated, pre-existing power hierarchies from being permanently hard-coded into this entirely new audiovisual medium. Protecting diverse, authentic human perspectives against global mass production is impossible without first possessing the underlying local media pipelines. This connects directly to the artists fighting against extraction. Figures like Jean-Michel Jarre have publicly stated that creators must be treated as partners in this new economy, rather than mere data suppliers for someone else's model. The battle for human dignity, copyright, and ethical compensation will not be won with legislative policy papers alone. Words on a page cannot stop a server running in another hemisphere. Genuine technological sovereignty requires an unbroken chain of vertical control. You have to oversee the process from the physical silicon in the server rack all the way to the final film projected on the screen. Massive physical infrastructure is the required foundation for cultural, moral, and artistic independence. To possess the cultural and ethical future of humanity, a society must physically own the machines that render it.